Well, we're in the hail season right now, and it's a traumatic time for a lot of folks out there. Of course, farmers and ranchers, but also folks that have properties and everything. In the last 2-3 years, has the cases of insurance fraud on the hail side went up?
They did, and we put a conference on about 30 days ago there in Billings, and what we're trying to do is raise awareness to folks so that they don't. It's bad enough when you suffer damage because of a weather event, and then when you have a problem with a bad contractor, it just multiplies it. It truly is like putting salt on an open wound. So we tried to make the public aware of some things that they can do. So number one, when you're shopping for your insurance and you're trying to determine what is the best product for you, I advise folks not to just look at the bottom line and see what their monthly payment is going to be, which your initial response is going to be. But you have to take a little bit of time and review the type of coverage that you're going to receive and specifically how your deductible is going to be addressed. Because with all of the hail events and damage and claims that have been taking place through the central part of the state over the last 3 to 5 years, the insurance companies are trying to do some innovative things to keep the rates down and to keep the premiums down for the homeowners. And one of the things that they're doing is giving you a choice of whether you would like a flat rate for your deductible or whether you would like a percentage of the value of your home to be utilized as your deductible. And I just warn folks to be careful about that so that they are thoroughly clear on what is taking place. Because if you're getting a 2% deductible and it's on the value of your home and you have a $200,000 home, clearly all of a sudden you're looking at, 10% would be $20,000, so 2% would be $4,000, a $4,000 deductible. And folks just need to know whether that's what they want as a deductible or whether it's going to be a flat fee that's described. And so up front, that's the first thing you need to do. Then immediately after damage takes place, Scott, the wisest thing that folks can do is to go out there and take some photographs of the damage, whether it's siding, whether it's windows. If it is up on the roof, be extremely careful, but you want to get some photographs, and whether you have a nice camera or whether you just want to go up there with your cell phone. A lot of folks now have cameras built right into their cell phone to go ahead and record what the heck actually happened. Then, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir.
So then the contractors usually they start showing up. I mean, you don't have to search. They typically are going to start showing up. So what you want to do then is make sure that you have a legitimate, a reputable contractor. And some things that you can do is to make sure they are insured, not only through the liability, but they have workers' compensation insurance for their employees. Make sure they're registered in Montana. We don't have licensed contractors, but they do need to register as a contractor here in the state. You need to get a written contract. That is critically important. And check with your insurer about the contractor and see if they're familiar with them and have heard any good or bad about them. And then you never, ever want to pay up front and let that money out of your hand until you've got your work done.
Let's talk about how important it is, and I do this each and every year, is to do an insurance checkup where you go through all the different policies for your car, your home, your boats, or whatever it be. How important is it to do that each and every year?
It is very important. I'm glad you brought that up. And we have a form that you can go to our website, csimt.gov, and you can print that form off. And it just gives you a checklist of the different types of insurance products that you may have, just to sort of remind you to go through and update those, review them, see if the coverage is still adequate, because folks' lives and their needs change as they go through life, and make sure that you do update all those products.
So have you checked out the proposed farm plan with a hail insurance? Is that looking pretty good for Montana farmers and ranchers?
I've been in touch with our federal delegation, and I haven't checked in with it within the last 5 days to see what types of amendments have been brought forward. I know that we have here locally the Hail Board, which is almost like a co-op, and the farmers have been able to fund it to provide hail insurance for the other farmers, and that's been working extremely well for just decades. And so that's another product as well that folks do have access to.
Let's talk real quickly here about flood insurance. So, is it still worth a person to get flood insurance?
It is. It is. We are not completely done through the season yet. We have what's known as the June rise. My ranch is located on the Yellowstone River, and while the waters have gone down in most of the major river systems around the state, all it would take is 1 week of severe rainstorms, and we're still having this snowpack melt off, and you would still be experience flooding, major flooding. And so folks still could go ahead and purchase that because, again, they need to keep in mind that typically they're not going to be able to access that for about 30 days. It would have to be in place for 30 days before they would be able to receive any type of a true benefit about it. Typically, that is most of it's through the National Flood Insurance Program. There are a few private policies under our jurisdiction here in Montana.
Well, I think the FEMA folks are here in the state of Montana. Do you get involved with those guys at all?
No, FEMA, we don't get involved with them. What I have tried to do is direct people to the different places where they can fill out the forms. Again, if you go to the website, csimt.gov, so that folks can get the proper forms so that if there is any type of assistance that is available through FEMA, that they would be able to utilize that. I attended several of the meetings post-flooding that were taking place in Helena and Missoula. And the other big thing that I've really wanted people to be aware of, which is completely outside of the realm of my office, is to make sure for sanitary conditions. When you have those flooding waters, your house doesn't have to be flooded. But if you are outside of a municipal water and sewer system, Scott, it is critically important that people understand that those high waters end up taking the septic, the effluent that is in the ground, and it moves around. And if you have a well, that effluent can go and travel through the groundwater and get into your well system. So it's very important for folks to check in with the health department and either rechlorinate their well or at least get it tested to make sure that they haven't had some contamination take place.
Well, Juan, thank you for coming on this morning, sir.
Excellent. It's always great to be with you first thing in the morning, Scott.